My name is Stephen Crowley. I'm a certified optician here at Corner Optical in Glenview, Illinois. I'm American Board of Opticianry certified, diplomas.
My name is Kevin Count. I am a board certified master optician. Own Corner Optical and Apprentice Optical Lab in Glenview, Illinois. And so the other master optician you talked about is a gentleman named Bob Kloman. He actually lives in Rock Falls and has his own practice and his own lab out there. And he initially said, I found a guy and I'm going to hire him. But he's in prison, so I have to wait for him to get out. And at the time, I thought he was nuts. What are you doing? You know. And he kept going, no, I think this guy can do it.
This job, if I had to write my own job description, that would be it. And so I said, I got to have this. Google Glenview Optical Shops in Glenview, Illinois. Just write that down and type it in Google. And I did. 26 different optical shops in Glenview came up. Grabbed the legal pad, wrote down all the numbers, the name of the store, the telephone number, started calling. Good morning, my name's Stephen Crowley. I'm a certified optician. I understand you're looking for an optician. And they would say, we're not looking for an optician. Oh, I'm sorry, I must have the wrong number. I'd go to the next one. Hi, my name's Stephen Crowley. I'm a certified optician. I'm wanting to apply for the optician spot you have. No, that wouldn't be me. So, to make a long story short, number 19 was Corner Optical. Wow. And I called, and Kevin said, yeah, I am looking for a lab optician. He said, tell me a little bit about yourself. So I did. He said, wait a minute. He says, why are you calling me? I said, I'm sorry? He says, I posted that job online. I didn't put it through the telephone or through print media. And I explained to him. And he was so impressed with the fact that I kind of improvised, thanks to my mom, I said, you're 19 and 26. He says, I'd love to see you. When can you come in for an interview?
And so when Steve walked in, it was a funny thing. He sits there and tells me his name, and I'm scratching my head listening to him. And we finally put together where he came from and how I knew him in all these different points. And I knew right then, okay, this is the guy I'm going to hire.
Part of my worry was that I wasn't good enough. Part of my concern was that I wouldn't cut the mustard. And so I basically told Kevin, you would be doing yourself a disservice by not hiring me. I am the guy you want. You just don't know it yet, you know. So he actually said, I know your name from somewhere, even before the idea of, you know, where I've been came up. He said, I know that name from somewhere. Where do I know you from? I got a little even more nervous because I thought maybe you might have heard of me from 30 years ago or something. I don't know, but I kind of just dummied up, and he says, you're Stephen Crowley. A buddy of mine was trying to hire a guy out of prison named Stephen Crowley. I said, that would be me. And the guy you're talking about is Bob Kloman. He says, absolutely, you know Bob? I said, yeah, and I explained the situation there. So he says, I've got one other person to interview, but I'd like to do a follow-up interview with you next week if you'd be available. I said, absolutely. The following week, I met with him and his wife.
And I said, well, I want to see you on a follow-up. And I went home and I told my wife I found the guy. And she went, there's not a chance I'm hiring an ex-con. I said, no, really, you got to meet this guy. She goes, fine. Begrudgingly says, yeah, fine. She comes in, poor Steve. I don't think he was necessarily expecting the moment, but my kids will tell you, my wife, when she wants to, can be rather intimidating. Poor Steve, I think he probably had to throw away the t-shirt he was wearing. He was sweating so bad. He could not keep up at all. And in the meantime, I had sent to him a link and said, I need you to take this personality test. And I need you to take this aptitude test. And the aptitude test I gave him was taken right off of the master's exam. There are questions that, I mean, when I had to do a syllabus to kind of figure out what the answers were, it took me some time. He sends back a thing and he goes, no problem, I'll bring them both with me. He brings in the personality test. He brings in the aptitude. While my wife was talking to him, I'm going through his aptitude, and I turned to him and said, "Oh, you did really well. You only got one wrong." And he goes, "No, I didn't." I said, "No, you did. It's this question right here." And I said the word to him, and I said, "The answer would be this." And he goes, "No, that's not the question. The question is blah, 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 blah. Therefore, I have the right answer." And I went back and went, "Oh, yeah, you are right."
The rest is history, yeah. So, Illinois Correctional Industry has been in existence to varying degrees since I got incarcerated in 1983. They told me about the eyeglass shop there, and they actually require a certain degree of education. They require that your TABE scores go to 10.0. They require that you have a high school diploma or the equivalent. Of course, you have to have a good disciplinary record. It was a means by which to kind of keep you in line. You kind of self-disciplined yourself because you knew eventually you'd be called for the job, and you didn't want to be denied because of a poor disciplinary record. One of the things that Correctional Industries allows you to do is to be the best you can be. In other words, if you have an idea, they're willing to work with you with it. Being a computer-aided draftsman in Shawnee allowed me to really invoke my creative side, you know. With Dixon, with the eyeglass shop, it was basically, you know, power, lenses, frames. So it was more of a rigid setting, more of a factory setting.
And that's the beauty of it, because he likes to, I don't like doing the same activity again and again and again. I like to change it up. I like to get different things going on and so on and so forth. Steve, if you tell Steve, put this glass here at 2 o'clock and always make sure it faces this direction, at 1:59 he'll be standing there with a glass in his hand looking at his watch, waiting to place it. So it works out well. I'd actually gone through 3 different people before I met Steve. They were horrible. Horrible people. One person walked in and said, you should pay me $40 an hour. And I looked at him and said, you know, that's almost as much as you get if you're an optometrist. He said, yes, but I'll make you money. I thought, not with this attitude. Somebody else walked in, they'd never been outside of one practice. It was just a mess. And this is the problem inside of Illinois, and this is where ICI really can strive. Inside of Illinois, you can't, the skill set is so low in opticianry. As a business owner, it's next to impossible to hire anyone. You know, this is the biggest issue.
One of the things that I have to emphasize about Correctional Industries at Dixon is that you were not, it wasn't a phony deal. I mean, you were actually making lenses from a hockey puck and turning it into a prescription for a real person. And so the basic information, the basic knowledge that I got from Dixon allowed this to happen. Basically, what you have to do is contact the ABO, and they have testing sites. You can either meet at that testing site, or they will administer a proctor. In fact, I got my initial certification at Dixon. And so what they would do is bring a proctor to the prison, and there would be several guys who have studied literally for months for this exam. Like I said, I have 4 years of college, and my thesis wasn't as hard as this test. That's not to say that it can't be done. It just means that the study level is that intense. So there's a vast array of knowledge that you have to cover in order to pass that exam.
Steve will become an owner. There's not a doubt in my mind that at some point in time he'll either take an ownership position within this company, or he will branch out and have his own practice. Yeah, because he already has an entrepreneurial bent. So he's with me 4 days a week. In his off time, he's doing other activities so that he can continue to work and keep himself busy. Once you have that in your blood, that entrepreneurial taste, there's no stopping. You constantly crave more.
The one thing that I enjoy doing now that I couldn't do before is to be able to go outside and look at the stars. I missed driving. Simple pleasures that people take for granted were a luxury for me.
What did you miss about it?
The freedom of operating a vehicle. Prison is a very regulated, very structured environment. You know, you're counted 3 times a day. You're all the staff is always aware of your whereabouts, and so it's a very regimented environment.
So driving is freedom.
Driving is freedom. Driving is definitely freedom. The ability to go next door to the ice cream shop and purchase an ice cream cone is liberating, you know. Tears come to my eyes when I think about it, quite frankly, because it's that special.